The typhoon also damaged homes, gas stations, and other shops.
China has identified the cause of the mysterious pneumonia outbreak in Wuhan city, and it's from the same family that caused the deadly SARS epidemic 17 years ago.
More than 200 children live and work here. They make charcoal from wood scavenged from nearby garbage dumps. They're exposed to toxic emissions. Many suffer of respiratory and heart problems.
The actual collapse of the world's third largest suspension bridge.
Which among these scenarios do you think shows a hazard, vulnerability, or risk? We cannot find solutions without identifying the problem. We cannot identify the problem if we do not know how to spot one. So, let us first run through the definitions of hazards, vulnerability, and risk. Hazard came from the Arabic word azhar, which means the dice. Playing dice became popular during the medieval times wherein gambling and luck was involved, thus considered risky. Azhar became azar in Spanish, which in turn became hazard in French, where the English word hazard came from. Hazard is a dangerous condition or event that threat or have the potential for causing injury to life or damage to property or the environment. We have to note that hazard is the cause or source of injury or damage, and not the injury or damage itself. The word vulnerability traces its roots to the Latin word vulnus, which means wound, that became the Latin word vulnerare, meaning to wound, to the late Latin word vulnerabilis, where the English word vulnerability came from. Vulnerability is the degree of susceptibility and resilience of the community and environment to hazards. Susceptibility means being likely to be influenced. Resilience means the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. This implies that being vulnerable is not an independent phenomenon. It will always be correlated to hazard. Who are affected? Community and environment. What affects the community and the environment? Hazards. The degree of vulnerability depends on the characteristics of a person or a group in terms of capacity to anticipate, cope with, resist, and recover from the impact of hazard. Risk is the possibility or probability of something bad happening resulting from interactions between natural or human-induced hazards in vulnerable conditions. Possibility is a chance of occurrence of a disaster without knowing how great the chance is. Meanwhile, probability is the calculated degree of chance of a disaster happening. Risk can be calculated using the following equation. Risk equals probability of hazard times the degree of vulnerability. This implies that hazard is proportional to vulnerability. The higher the hazard, the higher the vulnerability, the higher the risk. Have you now distinguished what are the hazards, vulnerabilities, and risks shown in the videos at the beginning? Let's check.
The typhoon also damaged homes, gas stations, and other shops.
China has identified the cause of the mysterious pneumonia outbreak in Wuhan city, and it's from the same family that caused the deadly SARS epidemic 17 years ago.
More than 200 children live and work here. They make charcoal from wood scavenged from nearby garbage dumps. They're exposed to toxic emissions. Many suffer of respiratory and heart problems.
The actual collapse of the world's third largest suspension bridge.